thank you very much. I think we need to appreciate, first of all, that the president at this crucial time has nothing to do apart from referring the petitions that he has received to the Chief Justice of the land. Let me also start by saying that the president is duly following Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. Now, if you look at Article 146, 1 of the 1992 Constitution, it clearly states that when it comes to issues of incompetence, misbehavior, or infirmity of the mind, and it has to do with a petition against a justice of the Superior Court per Article 146, 3 to 5. Now, all that the president has to do is to refer the petition to the Chief Justice. Now, the Chief Justice must establish a prima facie case. What that simply means is that the Chief Justice reads the petition and ascertain whether there is any truth or there's anything for the affected person to answer. In this regard, we are looking at two offices: the office of the special prosecutor and that of the chair, and then the two deputies of the EC. So now that His Excellency has received the petition, all that he ought to do is to refer the matter to the CJ. Now, the main work is going to be done by the CJ. Now, if you look at Section 15 of Act 5 of 959, that is the Special Prosecutors Act 2017, it says that once the petition is sent to the president is under legal obligation within 7 days to refer the petition in the case of the special prosecutor to refer the matter to the CJ. Once the petition is sent to the CJ now establishes the prima facie case, and if the CJ is of the opinion that there's a question for these two officers to answer, then the CJ will constitute a committee per Article 146, 3, 4, and 5, will constitute a committee. The committee, again, Section 15 of Act 959 of 2017, will have 90 days, like 3 months, to go into the merit of the matter, invite all parties, and then at the end of the day, a report will be generated. Once the report is ready, the report is given to the president again to act upon it. And all the president does is to announce what the recommendation or the report will say. So at this crucial time, His Excellency's hands are tied. He cannot do anything. All he has to do is to refer the matter to the CJ. So the main work now is on the table of the CJ.
I see. So you're saying, so you also believe in a conveyor belt theory, because there are those who also think that at least the president should be able to look at the petition and see if it is worth the time of the state before moving into the CJ. You think that should not be the way it should go at all?
No, it's where we are now. It's not about what I think. It's not about what you think. It's about what the law says. All right? Now, the law says that if it has to do with the removal of the Chief Justice, per Article 146.6, then the president is robed with the powers to establish, in consultation with the Council of State, to establish a prima facie case. Now, once it is not about the removal of the Chief Justice, but it has to do with the removal of the Justice of the Superior Court, the president cannot do anything. And once the president trends on that ground, then issues of constitutionality will catch up with him. So as where we are right now, it's not about what you think, it's not about what I think, it's about what our law says. And like I indicated or intimated earlier, Article 146, 3, 4 and 5 will clearly state that if the petition that is received by the president has to do with the removal of the justice of the Superior Court, the president cannot do anything on that petition than to refer the petition to the Chief Justice to do his work.
So at this point in time, the president has no hand in what happens next.
In fact, if the president does and tries anything, he could be cited for matters of impeachment. He could be cited for impeachment because then he's under, or he's looking down upon the Constitution. He's taking powers that he does not have, because these are matters of law. And in the 1992 Constitution, the Constitution is clear as to what to do when it comes to the removal of the justice of the Superior Court. And it is not within the mandate of the president to establish a prima facie case. In fact, all that the president has to do is he receives the letter, whether they are in envelope or not, and then he receives he sends the petition to the CJ to open the envelope. And so, okay, this petition has to do with Jean Mensah, or this petition has to do with my learned colleague, Kisi Ajaben. So the CG takes it from there. Now, all the president does right now is to wait. When the findings are complete and the recommendations or the reports are sent to him, all he does is to work as the work you are doing now, to declare what the recommendation says.
And you said the grounds are stated misbehavior, incompetence, is it
Yes.
infirmity of mind?
Yes. And interestingly, what you have stated is a constitutional provision, right, in Article 146, 1. And then when you come to the Act 959 of the Special Prosecutors Act 2017, Section 15 clearly states that, and these are also grounds. It says the office, the special prosecutor cannot be removed except, and the except simply means that ordinarily he cannot be removed, but his removal process can be triggered if he has to do with incompetence, if he has to do with where he doesn't have the capacity, if he has to do with where health-wise he's not in the brain, if he has to do with misbehavior, then the process can be triggered for his removal.
So it also suggests that if I have a petition and I send to the president for the removal of the chairperson of the EC or her deputies, I must be able to establish that whatever issues I raise in that petition fall within the context of stated misbehavior, incompetence, or infirmity of mind. Absolutely.
So there are 3 or 4 grounds per the 1992 Constitution, for 146, 1. It says that you cannot just jump and go there, but you should be able to meet that threshold to say that you are saying that, like in the instance case, you are going to the president to say that, well, Jean Mensah is not competent enough because of A, B, C, D. Jean Mensah has misbehaved because of A, B, C, D. Jean Mensah is not medically fit because of A, B, C, D. Now, when you are able to, as it were, cross that bridge, you put down your petition. Now, when the petition is sent to the president and same is forwarded to the CJ will also take the same words that you have used or petition that you have sent and examine the petition or the words and see indeed whether what you are alleging is something to go by, and if in the opinion of the CJ, he feels that there is something for the special prosecutor or the EC chair, then he will establish the committee to go into the merit of the matter.
Very interesting. And you say this same grounds are what you need to canvass in the case of the special prosecutor.
That is correct, because if you look at the special prosecutor, Section 50 is clear that when it comes to his or her, because if you look at Article 44 of the 1992 Constitution, Article 44, let me go to the easier, come to special. Article 44 says that the conditions of service for the Electoral Commission chair is that of a court of appeal. All right? Now, his two deputies' conditions of service is that of the High Court. Now, so when you marry this interpretation to that of Article 146, 3, 4, and 5, in Ghana, when we say Superior Court, we are talking of from the High Court to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court. So once that is established, that their offices are equivalent to that of the High Court, Court of Appeal, when there's any petition for them to be removed, it means that you are going straight to the president with the petition, and then the president will also refer the petition to the CJ to act on. Yes.
I see. But should we be worried? Because you had just said, you just read a portion of a constitution which says that they cannot be removed except. Should we be worried that 7 different petitions, people have found 7 different reasons for which they are convinced that a chairperson of the EC, not only her alone, but they are adding her 2 deputies can be removed? Should that worry us?
No, I don't think it should worry us. I don't think that should worry us. Rather, Ghanaians should be excited that we have Ghanaians in this country who have the country at heart and want to ensure that public officers are held responsible for whatever services that they provide or for which and whatever offices they occupy. My brother, if you look at Article 23 of the 1992 Constitution, it clearly states that as a public officer or administrative officer, whatever decision that you take, whatever task that you perform must be capricious, must not be capricious, must be reasonable. So once a Ghanaian is of the opinion that another Ghanaian who is supposed to protect the interests of another Ghanaian, and by upholding the interests of the Constitution is veering off his constitutional mandate, the law allows that person should be brought to book. In other words, that person's work should be tested to ascertain whether the way he or she operates is in line with the provision of the Constitution. So I think that we should rather be excited that such petitions are coming. But much as we should be excited, we should also not be conclusive to assume that whatever the petitions have stated are obvious. Now the work is on the head of the CJ, right, to establish whether indeed there are questions for this affected person to answer. And once that is established, then the process will actually take off. So for me, as a legal practitioner and as a Ghanaian, I am very happy that we have gotten to a stage where Ghanaians know their rights and they are ensuring that their rights are respected.
You say this is not a foregone conclusion.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not, because as it is right now, you and I, we don't know the content of the petition. All we do know is the fact that the constitutional provision is clear on what the requirement for the removal should be. But as to whether those requirements that is stated in the Constitution, these current petitions have met the threshold is something that we cannot actually defend until the final report is out. In fact, as we talk right now, it is only the Chief Justice who is robed with the powers to say that based on what I have, placing the interpretation of our constitutional provisions, I am of the firm belief that the affected person has a question to answer. And once that is established, the process is triggered. But if the CJ feels that no, there's nothing in, they are just hot air, the petitioners are just being emotional, the CJ will say that there's nothing for them to answer, and therefore the committees will not be constituted.
I see. Is there room within this constitutional provision for someone, because the suggestion has been made that this is an attempt by the executive to remove them? Is there room within this for the executive to wiggle if they want to remove a chairperson of the Electoral Commission?
I will seriously would not toe that line, because whatever the executive is purported to be doing must be done in line with the Constitution. And once their actions will sin against the Constitution, then the Constitution will also catch up with them. As it is right now, I seriously, as a legal practitioner, don't see anything wrong that the executive has done. In fact, in our local parlance, the president in this regard is just a chairman. He's just being sent with a petition. And once the report or the petition is received by the president knows where to go. And that is in the house or in the room of the Chief Justice to do his work.
I see. Lawyer, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome, my brother.
David Olaga joining us on the line and helping us with some explanations as to how this will work. Now, if you look at the constitutional provisions carefully, it says there's little wiggle room for anybody to capriciously remove a chairperson of the Electoral Commission head, 2 deputies, or also the special prosecutor. You have to have a case against them. Without a strong case, you cannot just. It's not the kind of office that the president will wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, you are no more minister." That is not that kind of office. The Constitution actually explicitly states, and if you read 146, it says clearly, a justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of the regional tribunal shall not be removed from office. That's the very first thing it states, that you cannot remove them from office. But says that except for stated misbehavior. You must be able to point to the misbehavior. You must point that this is what they did. You must make a strong case for it. Or incompetence. And incompetence is not the type that we see the people stand on the platforms. He's incompetent. No, not that one. You must prove that they have incompetently discharged their duties. They are on ground of inability to perform the function of his office. So that's what the lawyer David Olaga was pointing out to us. Let's also speak to lawyer T.K. Jimegan. Lawyer T.K. Jimegan is a private legal practitioner. There are other skills that he holds, but those skills are not needed yet. Maybe on the matter of his work